personally, I'm a bit more of a believer. So I've got some various stories pulled up, some sightings, and just some more. This is just going to be a bit of a ramble. I guess maybe you could call it informative. I guess it just sort of depends on your opinion on the matter. But I hope you guys like it, and if you want more of this kind of video, just let me know, or maybe suggest a creature or cryptid that you would like me to investigate, or, do a little video about. So I'll just get started with a little backstory for those of you who aren't familiar. The Mothman is described as a man-sized or larger creature with glowing red eyes and the wings of a moth. It may have eyes set in its chest. There are even images of the Mothman being headless. Typically, the Mothman is an omen of disaster. Some people have claimed to have seen him before 9/11. If you see the Mothman, it's usually a sign of impending doom. On November 15, 1966, two young couples from Point Pleasant, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Millette, along with their young cousin, Lonnie Button, were traveling late at night in the Scarberry's car. They were passing the West Virginia Ordnance Works, an abandoned World War II TNT factory about 7 miles north of Point Pleasant in the 2,500-acre or 10 square kilometers, I believe that's what that says, McClintic Wildlife Management Area, when they noticed two red lights in the shadows by an old generator plant near the factory gate. They stopped the car and reportedly discovered that the lights were the glowing red eyes of a large animal, shaped like a man but bigger, maybe 6.5 or 7 feet tall, with big wings folded against its back, according to Roger Scarberry. Terrified, they drove towards Route 62, where the creature supposedly chased them at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. A Mothman sighting was again reported on January 11, 1697, hovering over the town's bridge, and several other times that same year. Fewer sightings of the Mothman were reported after the collapse of the town's bridge, the Silver Bridge, when 46 people died. The Silver Bridge, so named for its aluminum paint, was an I-bar chain suspension bridge that connected the cities of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and Gallipolis, Ohio, over the Ohio River. The bridge was built in 1928, and it collapsed on December 15, 1967. Investigation of the bridge wreckage pointed to the failure of a single I-bar in a suspension chain due to a small manufacturing flaw. There are rumors that the Mothman appears before upcoming disasters, and it seems to try to warn people of them. Mothman was never seen again in Point Pleasant after the demolition of the Silver Bridge. So that's just one story here. That's actually one of the more its head almost severed from its body. We went closer and saw that the animal's eyes were gone, and 2 of the legs had been torn off. It was upsetting to see this, but we kept with our walk. A few moments later, I saw something move to one side of me, but as I turned to look, whatever it was had disappeared. After a few minutes, I heard a shrieking noise, but James didn't hear anything. I looked behind me where the noise was coming from, and I saw the scariest creature I had ever seen or want to see again. It was very tall, maybe 10 feet tall, and was completely black, other than for 2 eyes, which were red and very large. I know that this may appear unbelievable, but the creature had 2 black wings, like those of an angel. It said something I didn't understand, which was like a different language, and then flew away. I saw this as clearly as I could see James, but he says he saw and heard nothing, and that I must have watched too many vampire films. But I did see it, and I was shaking with fear. All I wanted to do was to go home. I know I will never walk in the woods again. Sheila. I've read some theories that people think that the Mothman has psychic capabilities. Some people think he can enter your mind, talk to you in there. That could be possibly why Sheila was the only one who saw him. Let's see what else we can find. As I have read hundreds and hundreds of these types of stories, I have developed a nose for BS. I can say with confidence that this, in my opinion, is a true event. Do I think Sheila encountered Mothman or some other crypto creature? That I can't say, but with so much unknown to us, sometimes you have to just give in and accept what a person tells you. Many people believe that Mothman is a direct result of the cornstalk curse. While there are several theories about the origin of the creature, the cornstalk curse is one that seems to be overlooked more often than not. Getting to the core of the story, there was a battle between colonels and a multi-tribe contingent where the white settlers overpowered the Native Americans with their firepower. This battle took place in the area of the now Mothman-associated Point Pleasant, West Virginia. After the battle, the Native Americans were driven west into Ohio. However, the Shawnee chief Cornstalk made peace with the colonels, who had since built a fort to stave off future attacks. In 1777, the British began enticing the previously conquered tribes to attack the fort. Cornstalk alerted the settlers to the plan and told them his tribe preferred to avoid involvement. However, he couldn't guarantee that some Shawnee braves wouldn't fight, as he was not going to stop those who chose to join the assault. Garrison commander Captain Arbuckle, who had been Cornstalk's ally up to that point, took the Shawnee chief hostage in hopes that it would stop the attack, which it did. Unfortunately, things got messy as a colonel was attacked and killed while hunting, prompting some vigilante soldiers to execute Cornstalk as retribution. Not only did they kill the chief, but they also murdered his son, who was visiting at the time. As the chief Cornstalk lay dying, he put a curse on the land. I was the friend of the borderman. Many times I have saved him and his people from harm. I never warred with you, but only to protect our lands I refused refuse to join your enemies in the redcoats. I came to the fort as your friend, and you murdered me, and have murdered by my side my young son. For this, may the curse of the Great Spirit rest upon this land. May it be blighted by nature. May it be blighted in its hopes. May the strength of its people be paralyzed by the stain of our blood. Chief Cornstalk was buried near the Point Pleasant Fort. Some people believe that the Mothman is a type of thunderbird spirit, which have been associated with certain Native American folklore for hundreds of years. There are those convinced that the Cornstalk curse is responsible for the following disasters. 1907, the worst coal mine disaster in American history, took place in Minoga, West Virginia, on December 6, when 310 miners were killed. 1944, in June, 150 people were killed when a tornado came through the tri-state area. 1967, on December 15, the Silver Bridge collapsed, killing 46 people and injuring 9. 1968, a Piedmont Airlines plane crashed near the Kanawha Airport, killing 35 people. 1970, on November 14, a Southern Airways DC-10 crashed into a mountain near Huntington, West Virginia, killing 75 people. 1976, in March, there was an explosion at the Mason County Jail in Point Pleasant. Harriet Sisk was under arrest for the murder of her infant daughter. On March 2nd, her husband came into the jail with a suitcase full of explosives. Both the Sisks were killed, along with 3 law enforcement officials. 1978. In January, a freight train derailed at Point Pleasant, dumping thousands of gallons of toxic chemicals. The chemicals contaminated the town's water supply, and the wells had to be abandoned. 1978. In April of the same year, the town of St. Mary's was struck with tragedy when 51 men who were working on the Willow Island power plant were killed when their construction scaffolding collapsed. I haven't heard of the Cornstalk curse before, and I have to say I do find it to be really interesting. So this is it for part 1 of, I guess, my Mothman rambles. If you guys find any particular lore or any particular sightings, just let me know. This was a kind of impromptu, maybe a little sloppy, but I had some time and it's nice and quiet in the house, and I'm always down to talk about something spooky. Have you guys ever seen the Mothman? If you have, or you just have a certain story you'd like to share, leave it down below. Also, feel free to link me to things for a second possible Mothman video, or even just general cryptids. I'm probably gonna put together something about aliens next, so you can also leave stories about any missile tests. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. Good night.